Happiness is not the purpose of life. I would like to disagree with that. When I was in school, if you have any sort of philosophical discussion with another person who's around the age of 13 to 18, even many adults, when you ask them, what do you think is the purpose of life? Everyone says happiness. A few years back, I would have replied the same way. What's the point if you aren't happy, right? What does everything mean if you aren't feeling good about yourself? But I think that what people are referring to when they say the purpose of life is happiness is what they want to achieve, which is contentment. I think they want contentment, not happiness, not satisfaction. They know that, happiness is a fleeting emotion. It's a reactive emotion. Happiness isn't something that you keep. It's something that comes and it goes. It's impossible to keep happiness forever. And we all know that. When's the longest time you've been happy? A week? Sick. And I think that even being happy throughout the week, there was still maybe an hour or two in there that we didn't feel happy. But we considered that whole week as happiness because we were content with our situation. Satisfaction is something we all know that is close to impossible, if not impossible to achieve. And that's natural human desire, and that's fine. Contentment, I do think is possible to achieve through gratitude, through, spirituality. Contentment is something that is achievable. And I do think that if people shift what they're saying to the purpose of life is contentment, maybe that would make a bit more sense. But at the same time, I still disagree with that. I think the meaning of life is responsibility, because if you assert in your brain that the meaning of life is contentment, what are you going to do? You're going to make decisions that give you contentment or happiness. So what does that mean? For example, watching porn makes me happy. Now what are you going to do? Now you're going to watch porn. Where's that going to lead you? To zero contentment, because you are perpetually stroking your worm and producing creamy white liquids from your bottom nipple. You don't want to be following contentment and happiness as your decision maker, as your compass. And if you assert that as your meaning of life, whatever makes me happy, it makes it worth it, right? It's worthwhile now because I'm happy. Now I can do it. And it isn't a waste of time if I'm enjoying myself. I have a video about that a while back, but that's not the point. Happiness, contentment, they are not the meaning of life. Responsibility is. Look at the kids nowadays. They have all the comfort and access to food, water, sleep, a roof over their head. They have everything at their fingertips. Yet why are they identifying as 3 different genders simultaneously? Right now, there's an epidemic of youth suicide rates. More youth are taking their life than ever. That's because they lack the journey to acquire these necessities. They have no responsibility and they refuse to pick up responsibility because the friction is very high. Responsibility sometimes has to be forced onto someone in order to give them direction. But when you have to voluntarily pick up responsibility, most people will say no. Most people would just prefer to live in comfort. And biologically, that makes sense. Why would, you have to be some level of crazy to choose resistance and friction in life if you can just sit down and chill. And that's like how we were wired. If we have our needs available to us, why should we go and look for more? Why should we go and fight for more? So in a way, us that fight for our contentment, us that pick up responsibilities, we are kind of the insane ones. But if you're not a little bit insane to go and pick up those responsibilities, you will end up mindless. You'll be just identifying as a unicorn and you have 7 different pronouns. I think responsibility should be something everyone seeks. Men and women. Men and women. I learned from the last video. See? And it is necessary. In third world countries where not all their needs are fulfilled, even kids have to have responsibilities. They have to go, harvest the crops on the fields. You don't see any of those third world countries becoming a freaking multi-gendered, multi-zodiac, rainbow hair. You don't see that in third world countries. Unless you're in Thailand, then maybe you will see some not very guyish guys. Happiness isn't the purpose of life. You follow happiness as a compass, you're going to make very stupid decisions. You're going to follow a path that lacks meaning, that lacks fulfillment, that lacks excitement. You're going to make terrible relationships because you just focus on your own happiness. And how do you even define what happiness is to you? Because there are dopamine spikes. If you consume funny content on TikTok and it makes you laugh, is that happiness to you? And if that's happiness to you, won't you be desensitized to the dopamine spike? And then slowly you'll be seeking more and more dopamine spikes, and eventually you are chronically addicted to seeking that dopamine spike, and you can't live a normal life without scrolling through TikTok for 8 hours a day. Here's a question for you. What are your last 5 TikToks? Or what are your last 5 YouTube shorts that you've watched? You don't remember any of them. 0. You don't even remember the latest one you watched. Okay, maybe you did. The latest one. Fine. Funny. Fuck you. And what? Maybe there are some valuable content on them. Once every 50 shots you go through. Is it really worth it? We can pick up so many more responsibilities. There's so much fulfillment to go for. There's so much to see, man. We are missing out on so much. There's people out there experiencing so much more than us. And maybe they were lucky to be given the resources to be experiencing so much more beauty than us. But we have one life, man. We have one life. Dude, one life. And there's going to be so much we're going to miss out on. I can't have that. I'm going to live this whole life knowing that there's so much I missed out on. So I'm kind of sick right now. So the voice is kind of... But man, we don't deserve to miss out on all that. So we gotta go seek it out. We gotta go put ourselves out there. Indulge ourselves in stupid ass things. Put ourselves into shitty ass situations for the fulfillment. For example, the first time you perform on stage. Let's say you're a singer or a beatboxer like Watashi. The first time you put yourself on stage, will you be happy? You know, while walking up there, you're gonna be shaking. You're gonna be thinking, do I really have to do this? Like, why do I really have to? You won't be happy, but you might be contented. You know, you might be understanding that you are making a sacrifice. You're sacrificing how you feel right now, right? For the fulfillment you're gonna get once that performance ends. And that fulfillment, that feeling of meaning, that's fucking beautiful. You know what I'm saying? That's beautiful. The purpose of life isn't happiness. When you do something that makes you happy, that doesn't mean you are not wasting your time. And these moments of fulfillment, you know, you can argue that in the grand scale of things, who the fuck cares? But these moments of fulfillment, these moments that create gratitude and give you meaning and give your character depth, this is something that is so tangible. It will hold your life together. You know, you become something of substance. Your character will have so much more beauty to it. Yeah, maybe in the grand scheme, it doesn't matter at all. But how does that even put searching for meaning and fulfillment below searching for happiness? I guess it really comes down to how you want to live. But people who say, you know, living in the present moment, living for the happiness, the spikes of excitement and joy, I don't agree with that. And if that's the compass, most people will fail. You're not gonna die especially happy. You might die contented, but if you follow happiness your whole life, you're gonna lie on your deathbed empty and like a hollow shell, because only thing that you kind of seek your whole life is those dopamine spikes. So now you're gonna die an empty life. You're gonna die a hollow shell. And in my last dying moments, I don't want to be scrolling TikTok. There's so much for us to see, man. There's so much endeavors for us to partake. There's so much waiting for us. This is crazy. You know, this world is crazy. This is beautiful. You gotta get off your ass. Stop making very comfortable decisions. Go do things that you will absolutely love yourself after doing. You know, the reason why so many people don't love themselves is because they succumb to their own comfort. They succumb to their own fear. They know that doing this one thing would give them so much more fulfillment and meaning, but then they choose not to. It's because in the moment, perhaps that thing is scary. Perhaps it is nerve-wracking. It makes them anxious and afraid. And then they don't do it, and they create a habit of, you know, happiness is the meaning of life. You know, it doesn't make me happy, so why should I do it? You keep following that nonsensical claim, and you end up absolutely nowhere. You end up depressed, nihilistic, resentful, that you have absolutely nothing going for you because you were never putting yourself out there or doing anything that you hate in order to get to a place you want to be. Let's seek meaning and fulfillment. Let's become a man of depth and purpose. Let's go and find things we're afraid of and do them. Let's go and put ourselves out there. Let's go and scream to the world, you know, this is me. This is who I want to be. And you're gonna do what you want. Even if it means you are afraid. Even if it means you are shakingly terrified. You're gonna do it. You're gonna smile to yourself. You're gonna love yourself. And you're gonna pat yourself on the back. You chose to do it. You chose to put yourself out there. That's badass. That is a main character life right there. So let's all go seek out that life, you know. That is absolutely beautiful to me. Let's do this. To better world.